On December 1st, the lead attorney did a second interview with Gerardo Zuniga, and he gave some further updates about Daejhanae Jackson in the Shanquella Robinson case. First off, he stated that the first thing he wanted us to know is that his job as an investigative journalist is to investigate the structure of the government system, and this case is very complex, and it occurred at a time where there have been new judicial systems, a new penal system, and this system does not permit the prosecutors to come out and inform the media about the details of the case. So because we can't get information officially anymore, we have to go inside and get inside government information in a way that's kind of extrajudicial, that outside the normal process. According to his source, Daejhanae Jackson was arrested by the FBI, and she was arrested in the state of Connecticut. So on November 21st, the prosecutors in Baja, California asked the United States for an arrest order for Daejhanae Jackson for her extradition back to Mexico. Since that date, on November 21st, a federal judge declared that Daejhanae Jackson was basically a fugitive of justice from the Mexican system. He said that she was finally located in a house in Connecticut. It was a house of one of her family members, and this was on the 28th of November. He also stated that a lot of people have questions about where she is right now. Was she really arrested? What's going on with the information that he published that now has a lot of other national news media wanting to know as well? Unfortunately for the people in the United States, it's complicated to get the information firsthand, but he is there where the homicide occurred, and he can get those details. Zuniga stated, as an investigative journalist, it's his job to be honest, and it's his job not to wait until the news media puts out information, and that it's his job as well to present the information to the public, that they're not going to wait for the legal process, which in the United States can take up to 30 days to present the information. He said the information was published, and he says that the Baja California Sur officials just cannot give the information about the open case that's being processed and investigated at this time. He says that according to Article 311 of the Penal Code in Mexico, it states that whenever government officials violate this order or speak about an open case, whether it be femicide case, homicide case, or a kidnapping case, whatever it may be, officials that violate that order can be sanctioned with a fine and 3 to 7 years in a Mexican prison. In Mexico, now these prosecutors cannot give detailed information about a defendant when there is an open case to the news media. Furthermore, Zuniga stated that if you go back a little bit, there have been some changes in the system that he talked about a week ago, and that the old system in Mexico is no more, and now there's a new. Zuniga went on to say that the old system was crazy, and the new system adds more fairness and more justice and more due process rights. So with this new system, it has changed the way that investigative journalists get information and present it to the public. Now we have to do the extrajudicial way, a way that is unofficial. In Daejhanae Jackson's case, the only way that the prosecutor/government can talk about the case is when Daejhanae Jackson is already down in Mexico and has the accusations legally attached to her. However, until this time, the government officials are not going to be able to say anything. The international extradition law that the United States has with Mexico is that people can be extradited who have been charged with either murder, kidnapping, or femicide. Zuniga said that there are some important factors to this case, and that on November 21st, when Mexico asked for a special type of arrest warrant, that it also included the request for extradition to Mexico, because of course this is where the case happened and it has to be heard in Mexico. Also, the Mexican authorities requested for special protective measures that would protect Daejhanae Jackson's rights. Her rights are protected in Mexico under the new system. He went on to say it would be weird if the United States government went out and talked a lot about the case because, to be honest, it's a Mexican case. The murder happened in Mexico. The trial will be in Mexico. Maybe the United States government officials are carrying out their activities and their investigation with Mexican information, or information that they obtain by themselves. But again, the Mexican process has very little to do with the United States. So this situation is going to have a certain silence to it, where neither governments, US or Mexico, is going to say a lot. She was accused of femicide in Mexico, which means that the Mexican government has to prove she did it. So the Mexican government, under the new system, can't come out and start giving out all the details. Zuniga stated that if you could see his phone right now, he has over 100 calls from different news media outlets asking him about information on the case. Again, his job as an investigative journalist is to actually do his job. He doesn't wait because that takes too much time, and that's the important part of his job. He stated that he is the only news media in Mexico that is publicizing all of the details in the case. Zuniga said he hasn't seen any radio, he hasn't seen any TV down there, and he hasn't seen any American news media down there. But now they all are calling, asking for information, but they can't get it because of the new system, and it's given them a desperation to try to get the information. This has led to false information and lies about what he is saying. Also, according to him, there are people who think that Desjardins has not been arrested because the government is not giving out the case information in Mexico. According to law, there's going to be a time frame, again, of about 20 to 30 days to decide if Desjardins is actually going to be extradited to Mexico. Once the United States receives their request and gets the files, the United States looks at the documents and the evidence to decide if this is a legit case or not. Once they review all of that in that 20 or 30 days, that is when they will make their determination. Zuniga also stated that Desjardins has rights, and it is a process because America is not going to hand her over just like that. They have to review everything. He said that according to his contacts in the prosecutor's office, they have more evidence than just the video. They have testimony from two people that are talking about the case and that are pointing fingers at this point in time. So in the files, it is not only the video, but there's testimony from two people that were a part of the CABO6, and there is audio in the file also between Shanquilla and Desjardins while they were coming to Mexico from the United States. Now that the prosecutors have accused Jackson of femicide, these are the factors to be able to accuse someone. There has to be some type of relationship between the people. It can be a relationship, a friendship, but there has to be some kind of connection. This is fundamental in order to accuse someone of femicide. The prosecutors were able to get an interview from the father, and Shanquilla's father stated that there was a friendship between Robinson and Jackson. This provides the fundamental factor of the friendship that the prosecutor would need in order to charge Jackson with the femicide. So for this case, she is looking at about 30 to 60 years in prison if she is found guilty, and if so, she's going to have to serve that full time. He also says, in addition, there's other proof that aggravates the circumstances. He says that they, for one, moved Shanquilla's body, and also that Shanquilla was not alone, that there are other people that he can't talk about, but he will be able to talk about at a later time. He goes on to say, when they moved her, she was initially in the second-story bedroom, and then they moved her to the family room, and that's where they put clothes on her. And that is also an aggravating circumstances as well, because they're basically tampering with a crime scene. He also says that is why the case is so complex. He says that when the case first occurred, the friends, they all lied to the government officials. Government officials took notice to that immediately, and that is when the government officials looked at the case further and they noticed the fraud in what the friends said because they stated that she hadn't been beaten. The autopsy was conducted right away to get the truth, but when the autopsy came back, the officials went to look for the friends, and they had already left the villa and got another hotel in the area and fled the country of Mexico before they could get to them. Zuniga said that it's his job to be an investigative journalist, and people are taking bits and pieces of other people's information and trying to put the whole situation together. He wanted it to be known, why would he lie, that his life is on the line, his career is on the line, his reputation is on the line. He stated, "Do you really think I am going to sit back and wait for a national government or the FBI to start reporting? It will all come to light. You guys are going to see what's in the files. You guys are going to read the files. You are going to know what's in the files." But again, he reiterates that you're not going to know what's in the files until she's in Mexico at her hearing. Then you will find out all the details. My job is to get you the information before that, before it is seen mainstream, because I am an investigator and my job is to give it to you all first. A few questions he did answer during the interview. He stated that Lucy was the maid's name who was found with Shanquilla and that the doctor is under investigation right now for the crime of omission. However, he did not have too much about that as it is being investigated now. Also, Shanquilla's dad's testimony is in the files as well. In his next interview, he will tell us more about the hotel that they went to after they left the villa. Also, he said that there were cameras at the villa, but they were only on the outside. There are no cameras in the inside of the villa at all. He also states that he found out after the fact when they left, they went from Mexico to Texas and then from Texas back to Charlotte. In my opinion, he seems like a very nice guy, and it doesn't seem that he will just tell us anything. We just need to take everything at face value though, and all we can truly do is wait and give things time instead of trying to figure it all out very quickly. We just have to give it that time, and we can put together what he is telling us until then, because he is the only one truly down there on the ground working it out. At some point, everything will reveal itself, whether it be true or false, but I just want to give some updated information on where he states that things are, and you can take it for what you want. Also, down in the description, there will be a link to his Western Union, so if you would like to help in his efforts of this investigation, that information will be in the description below. I appreciate you guys watching, and also I will leave the information for the lead attorney if you want to watch his full video. It will be in the description box below. Also, please leave your comments and thoughts on the latest updates and our continued prayers for justice for Shanquilla Robinson. Thank you again for watching, and remember, stay woke. Things change quickly.